You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you've tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings, but now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in the palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. Yes, I'm the winner, yes. Am I awake or am I dreaming? So far gone, I won't look back. And when I move, there ain't no stopping me. You're pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking angry, but then the sky reached my mind.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, 7 o'clock. I want to thank you for joining us today at the Plan to Prosper show. We are in 200 countries. You can find us on Facebook, Sharon Campbell Solution Group, LinkedIn. You can also YouTube, Plan to Prosper show, and Roku, Amazon Fire, and Pod TV. We'd like to thank Mark Lee, our producer and engineer for tonight, making sure that he brings this show to you every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And I'm going to tell you today we just finishing the month out. Every Tuesday, rest of the month, we're going to be talking about inclusion, diversity, equality, equity, and advocacy compared to the program, which is DEI, and the difference. For the last couple of Tuesdays, we showed you what the difference is and the importance of being included first before you even start talking about the diversity. And when I think about what's happening around the world, I want you to really think about, especially in the United States, meaning that we have the most killings at hospitals, drugstores, malls, grocery stores, family gatherings, picnics, barbecues, graduations, Mother's Day, schools, businesses. Just walking in the park is not safe anymore. And so whenever you think about why in America that we think we need these big guns? Why do we think we need to have so many ammunition to kill massive amount of people? And because this is mental health awareness month, this is why it's important that we really focus in on inclusion first. Let's include the people at the table to help write policies to change, reduce the number of mass killings, unnecessary killings in the United States of America. And whenever you have groups marching in Washington, the new form of the Ku Klux Klan, when they have to take a, I don't know, what do you call it? You put it around your neck now, mask. How about that? And cover your face up because you don't want to wear the Ku Klux Klan outfit anymore. But you want to put shades. You don't want nobody to know who you are. And if you go into a march, why you need a shield? Every person that was out there that was with that group has a mental health crisis and they need some help. So if you're listening to me and you know someone that was out there, please get them some help. You don't cover your face up, put dark glasses on, and get a shield and march in over 80-degree temperature if there's not something going on with you. We must start talking about this because that type of hatred affect businesses, organizations, nonprofits, churches, communities, and everyday people's lives. We live in the United States of America where being included is not accepted. They want to talk about diversity first before they even include you in the conversation. And when women's rights plays a major part of what is happening in America. And the great thing about this, women's rights, it's Republican women, Democrat women, and progressive women, and no party women do not want the government or men or judges telling us what to do with our bodies. Because every person situation is different. So you can't make policy when you cannot include every person's situation. And who are these people that want to do these policies? When you look at the makeup of Congress, it is white men. Now, I had a conversation with some young women, and they said, if these white men would just go get a vasectomy, part of the abortion issue would be solved, from rape, incest, why people need to have that. And when you are not a physician that specializes in that area, so you could be a doctor, but you don't specialize in it, that's a hiccup. So we have to take a new look at being involved and engaged. In the last couple of Tuesdays, we focused with inclusion, diversity, equity, and equality and advocacy from the private sector. But let's take a few minutes and talk about it from the nonprofit sector. Because you have groups out there that support other groups that don't want to be named or known for promoting something that is unjust to people. See, nonprofits have to be independent of making money to keep the doors open, to provide services to the community and people that needs a voice and need opportunity to move from one income to the next income. I do believe that inclusion should start building from the bottom up and out. I mean, once you get to the middle class, let's spread it out, then go back up to the wealthy. See, once you start elevating people and stop making policy difficult, and that's because you try to do diversity before you do inclusion. So you include people, you get a more diverse board of who needs to be from your local election to your federal election. Because it also comes to your income to move yourself up out of poverty, a middle income, and live the life that you desire. And so continue following us the rest of this month because it is Mental Health Month awareness. We see a lot going on. So we need to start including more people to address the issues and put pressure on people that want to use their position only for their self-enriches and suppress other people. Because, and I said, people are not out there saying, we don't want the Second Amendment. That is not what they say. You don't hear people. We don't want a second. Like, no, that's not what we're saying. We want responsible policies because they affect entrepreneurs, business owners, 9-to-5 hobbyists, churches, and communities. That's the income level. Okay, that's people wealth. So you can have both at the same time. So whenever you bring, including people like bringing the parents together that lost children and these school shootings, that's including them on how this policy should be read. See, diversity happens when you say, we are the legislator and we diverse enough and we don't want to include you. So that's diversity. Diversity say, hey, we got our pool right here. That is enough right here, this little group. And so we don't need to include you for inclusion because we already picked who we wanted to say that's diversity. But if you say this, we want to add more people to the pot of diversity by using inclusion first to get more ideas, strategies to fix the problem, or at least address the problem. We have to have these conversations, and every person should be having some type of conversation around this because it affects your living standard. They are intertwined, because you have to look at equality and equity after you address inclusion and diversity. You cannot leave out people and leave people behind and say you believe in DEI. That was a good start to get a conversation going. But ideals say inclusion, diversity, equity, and equality. And then we must have the A, which is advocacy. Because who's going to advocate to ensure that these policy procedures that we come up with, rules and regulations, happens? So let me give you another example. We did the Second Amendment already. Let's talk about the reason why you have so many laws and regulation that want to be pushed to eliminate people from voting. That's not diversity. That says, I don't want to include you in decision making. They have created their own diversity group out here that say, let us come together, this group, and exclude anyone else. See, inclusion would say, let's include enough people that we will have enough strategies and opportunities that they would find something that fits them. And then let's do equity, because it got to be okay. And equality also. When you start putting all of it together, it makes sense as we look for solutions for today's problems that we have. And we do have some. And we have a lot in the United States of America. But we're always striving and working for the best answer. When you have elected officials saying, let's take DEI out of public schools, public colleges, public community colleges. As a matter of fact, let's try to take it out of everything and let our state be a state that does not even use it anymore. It is a way to say, I do not want to include your viewpoint or what you think or what strategy that you have in place to improve the economy, that we in turn improve yourself and your living region. When we start talking about mental health awareness, you could become in a crisis as an individual whenever something is withheld from you and that someone has not included you into that process. Now your income stay down. See, our world is an ecosystem, and we intertwine throughout the day in some form of fashion. We touch one another. We must start paying attention and having conversations about being part of the solution and change, because change is different. When you have people march in Washington, D.C., and that is their right to march. But when you have them covering themselves up, it is saying we are a modern day Ku Klux Klan. See, if you're not doing anything wrong, you can show your face. See, when you cover it, you could be a senator, a congressman, a lawyer, a doctor, a steel worker, a police officer, someone in the military, the banker. Oh, yes. You cover up to say, I got to hide myself because I still need to make money once I take this down. But I got something going on in my head that's mental. Because I showed up and said, let me sit down. Because I am afraid to show who I am. Because I need people to still purchase my product, my services. Oh, it's obvious what is going on. But we, as people in the United States of America, the greatest country, can do better by having a conversation about being included and being heard, and allow some of the decisions that people are saying become policy, laws of the land. To think that, to say only Republican women are for, or for not for abortion. And if you look out there throughout, no, that's not. So you miss the whole point of it. So you take one piece and say abortion, but it's bigger than it is women's right. Why do you think that women fought so hard for their rights? All women. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin or what party you with. Do not want people in their bedroom, in their health, in the doctor's office. We're going to take a commercial break, but I wanted to leave you with this before we go. What are you going to do to put inclusion first on your agenda and take up a cause and see it through during this election? We'll have a small commercial now. Wasn't that great to have time just to absorb that moment of saying, what I'm going to do today, not tomorrow. What calls am I going to pick up that inclusion, my voice is going to make a difference because that's directly affecting your income. See, whenever there is a school shooting and a parent loses a child, that stays with that parent a lifetime. And it doesn't say whether you're Republican or Democrat, progressive, unaffiliated, don't vote, should have voted, may voted. Because we don't have policies to address that one issue. And the policies they're coming up with, like the teachers. Teachers are saying, we have, I don't know if you volunteer in the classroom. So let me tell you for volunteering in the classroom. She got to lock the gun up, put it away. A teacher is not sitting there by her gun. If you give it to her. No, it's locked up, it's away because it has to protect the whole inside of the other 30 students they may have, 25 in the classroom. Now, teachers are also teaching, moving students, grouping them, interacting with them. And throughout the day, so volunteer at school, she is not sitting at her desk. And the whole process is saying, let's how about a child that's in the classroom? Oh, now you got to be responsible for she's locking up stuff. You see, you're adding more to the teacher. Oh, let's make the door. But guess what? Those little bundles of joy have to leave out and get on the bus. Carpool line. See, you're trying to put a band-aid on a situation that we could start making better policies around. Listen to the parents. These policies is not infringing on your rights, your Second Amendment right. They are not. Okay, so pick a cause, if there's enough of them out there, and get involved and start building your pool to say, we want to be included on this issue. As a matter of fact, you could join groups already out there and get involved because it affects the economy. It does. Get involved with who are you putting up there in the legislators? Who are you putting up there in Congress? Who are you putting in your local board? Because if they're picking up causes that's going to not help build the economy, but tear people farther apart, I don't think we voted for people to tear people farther apart. Or did we? That's why it's so important when other countries look at us, we set the example. It's just like parents need to set the example for their children to become the best they can be, but also give them room to discover who they are. We have thousands and thousands of nonprofits in our community providing much needed services to our community. And we have to start including more minority nonprofits for funding as we do other ones. Yes. Because they are in the community. They know what the community needs, and people feel more comfortable going to them. We have to also think about removing ourselves out of situation self and look at solutions as a group or a broader group of people. Racism is up in front of us and alive. And too many of us don't like what we see, but sitting on the sideline, not doing anything about it. Too many of us are running to the aid of the wrong people. And we must really take the time to, just because somebody particular skin color, the Karens of the world, and white men runs to the white women, the Karens, when you see them through social media and making this making up stuff. I'm gonna help you, white men of America. Step back and don't run to her aid. Go over there and say, son, is Karen bothering you? Call Karen out. Ask Karen to leave these young Black men alone. Tell Karen, walk away, Karen. You are dividing America. We have to stop picking sides because of the color of somebody's skin in those situations. Because what I saw, Karen in the bike with a young Black man that was paid for the bike, it was his bike, then all of a sudden the white man was like, hey, guess what? Take that off. Let her take the bike and you put it back on, you get a bike. No, Karen, no. The sad part about that, it was a hospital worker. If she does that on the outside, she's bringing that same attitude in the inside and mistreating Black people. And the hospital should not tolerate it. It has nothing to do with if she was outside doing that. That's your employee. We got to stop making excuses for people bad behavior. We just got to stop. We have to find more common ground, because there's more common ground, and stop looking for excuses to not do the right thing. See, if white men would start running to the rescue of white women, the Karens, they will stop it. Or they will release it because they know they can't fake and cry because nobody believes them. You know, didn't get to see the whole video because, you know, they only do give you a snippet. I wonder what that white man did when he found out that look, she was faking it. Did he pull her aside and really school her on her behavior? We got to stop falling for the open door and foolishness and racism. See, when we do this, white men in America run into white women aid that are Karens, we give permission for that behavior to continue. See, you got to call out bad behavior no matter what, because you're supposed to set an example. I cannot tell you the importance of being part of the process of change on voting, making sure it's make sure that you are included in the process, then excluded. Take some time and Google inclusion, diversity, equality, and equity, and advocacy. Matter of fact, I'm going to write a blog on it. And so by the end of this week, go to my website, www.thesharoncampbell.com. And I'm going to just give you the information and you can download it. But read up on it. Look around and say, how can I change? You know, we're not asking you to take on all the causes, but at least be involved. Send a letter, send a text to your elected officials saying, no, this is wrong. See, when enough people stand up for what is right against what is wrong, that's when change happens. That's how women got the right to vote. That's how Black people got the right to vote. Because we stood up against what was wrong. So I would love to hear from you on what it is that you're going to do to start being part of the solution, to be more part of being inclusion, diversity, equity and equality, and advocacy. So you could pick either of those, which is the ideal model to change. And then get a group of people together and have that conversation. We spend sometimes over 4 hours a day on social media, just scrolling, looking. Guess what would happen if you would spend 30 minutes of that time with 5 people on the phone, coming up with how to have your voice heard on the issue that you care about? It's going to make a difference. See, when you don't get involved, you're giving away your voting power and you're giving away your wealth. See, when policy is made, it affects your wealth. Yes, it does. So when you don't get involved and you come to, well, I'm getting my check, I'm not going to say anything. Guess what? Interest rates go up. Food go up. Gas go up. It start affecting you because you didn't get involved. See, everything in the ecosystem has purpose and it affects you. We don't advocate for something, inflation may happen. Airfare may go up. Houses prices may skyrocket. That's affecting you. When you sit back and do nothing and complain and talk about what it should be, but don't do anything, it affects you and your wealth. Whether it's directly or indirectly, it's part of the ecosystem. So let's build a stronger ecosystem. Let's build the ideal ecosystem where inclusion is so at the top. diversity, equality, equity, and advocacy is so much needed. And now, because it's going to strengthen your bottom line and improve your communities in the United States of America. The place where so many people fight to get here, pay so much money, apply to be a citizen here. So many people have put their lives at stake just to be in this country. And with all you have going on, you still have a window of change so that policies can continue elevating you, closing the wealth gap among the Black and brown population. See, when more people prosper, the United States of America prospers. See, people don't make bad policies just to make them. They make them for a purpose, to keep somebody down, out of the running, for they can have more and can have less. That's not being inclusion. That's not being included at all. At all. So we have to educate people. And you can do that. And I would love to just be able to hear from you and some of the ideas that you want to use as solutions, or how you want your small group together to work on one issue. You don't have to create, there's some of the groups out there, you don't have to create it. Well, whatever you do, become part of the change, part of the solution, and grow the United States of America back. So it is the ideal country that so many people fight daily to enter and save our children from school shootings. Be a part of change for women's rights. Amass people that march, they have to cover their face and only show just their eyes. And sometimes they put shades on because they don't want you to see no part of it. Unmask that. Let's bring more of the wealth from the bottom up and stop at the middle and go out. Just a pause. I hope I said something to you tonight that you can bring your family member together or a group. Oh, something that I said would just have you to start thinking how you're going to make a difference and go change the world. Thank you tonight for this glorious 45 minutes with you. And I do hope and pray that this week you will be part of change. Have a very good night. Thank you, Mark, so very much. And we'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Tuesday night.